Hey there, everyone. It's Jesse. Thanks for tuning in to a quick video. This week I have Tom and Diane with Probuy Staging on. How you guys doing?
Hi, Jesse. Great to have you. Thanks.
I have my green screen up, so I wave. Sometimes my hand disappears. So, but no, I appreciate you guys taking the time out and sharing some insight to the staging world. So, before we get into the nitty gritty, I was going to talk a little bit about how we met. Right? When was that? 2000. How long? When was it?
10 years ago, I think.
10 years ago, 2010. That sounds right. And it was you guys were. I was helping you with financing on. Was it your first investment property?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And now 10 years later, you still have rentals, or did you sell everything?
We still have 5 rentals.
Okay. So you're still investors, you still got rentals, but now this staging business has taken shape and taken off. And so look, that's the whole point of this video, is to talk a little bit about what made you get into it, when did you start, what does it become, and really give some insight to maybe the folks who don't currently use staging, and kind of let them know why they should get into it, right?
Very good.
So let's start with who you guys are. What's the backstory here?
We're a small family business. We started staging our first flip back in 2010. We had been watching HGTV back then and thought that would be the thing to do. So we staged this property. It had sort of a drywall crack in the ceiling that we tried to get repaired over and over, and it kind of was there, and we're like, oh, we got to get the attention away from it. So we staged the house. It looked cute. We got a very good offer on it, and the people bought 3 rooms of furniture, which just showed that we sold the dream, not just the house.
Right. So you listed initially without any furniture, and then it was you were noticing your own imperfections with the home and decided you needed to stage it.
And we were also getting feedback from the broker, who said that they were pointing out what they thought were deficiencies in the rehab.
Right. So now you didn't have a company then. How'd you furnish it? Did you just go out and buy a bunch of furniture, or did you empty your house and put all your stuff in that house?
Well, the funny thing is, we met a woman at a furniture place, told her what our very meager budget was, and she totally set us up. We never got those prices again, and she moved on, actually. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's a cool story to see how you got started. So,
and then from there, people in the office that were listing the property for us, they said, hey, we've got one, do that for us. And we did that, and just word spread out, and it was just been word of mouth for the last 10 years.
Right.
So this is our new foray into actually doing a little bit more marketing.
Uh-oh, the big scary marketing thing, right? Might be. You better be careful. Maybe you'll get too much interest, and you have to go buy a bunch more furniture.
Oh my!
Good problems.
Right now we have 10,000 feet of warehouse space, so that we've got plenty of furniture out there to to stage whatever type house comes our way.
Right. So how many would you say on average you have, how many homes do you have staged at one time? Is it, I mean, obviously it's going to vary depending on seasons and that kind of stuff, but you typically have multiple staged at one time, I'm guessing?
40 to 50.
Wow. This is the first time hearing this, so it's a much bigger number than I realized. So good for you guys. That's great. Is there anything else about your business that the listeners should know? I mean, obviously you cover the Chicago area. Do you go into city? How far north? Like, what's kind of your area?
We go all the way north. We stage in Crystal Lake, Joliet, Chicago,
Munster,
East
Indiana.
Side, Munster. I mean, we do some high-rise buildings. Not our preference, but we do it.
Oh, right. That's quite a big footprint. And you go to Wisconsin too, you said, or no, just kind of north suburbs?
We are almost in Wisconsin. We have not staged anything in Wisconsin.
Okay.
Most of our clients are in the Chicago metropolitan area.
Okay.
Or suburbs.
And now, can just anybody open a staging company, or do you have to have certain like license or insurance? I mean, obviously you probably have insurance for everything. How does that work?
Well, anyone could do that, but we do own our own furniture. We're licensed, bonded, and
Okay.
insured.
We have
And
our own truck.
we do own our own truck, and we do um, are members of RISA, which is the prevailing organization to,
Real Estate Staging Association. We have on staff designer who has probably designed over 300 of our houses over the last couple of years. So
Well, I should also start off by throwing a disclaimer out. I feel like the hair club for men. I'm not only the president, but I'm a member. So I have used you guys on multiple of my flips. So I just wanted the people to know, like I've asked you to come today because of my own personal experience, and it's been great and very professional and very organized. And so I was like, man, I don't know how many folks are actively using staging, or if maybe there's some myths around why you would or wouldn't or what have you. So I wanted everybody to know that first and foremost. Like, you guys do a great job, and the design is amazing. I mean, I thought you did it all, but maybe you did it at the beginning and it's changed. But whoever's doing it's doing a great job.
it's a collaboration. We collaborate, that's for sure.
So maybe talk about the process. So somebody reaches out, they say they want to get a quote or potentially use your service. Walk us through, how does that process look from the initial conversation to the house is staged?
Okay, we get a call. It's either from the broker or from the homeowner, and they say they want to stage. We talk about kind of what they have in mind. We figure out, get the address and so forth. We do a preview. In the preview, we measure doorways and figure out what's going to look right in the house. Is it a sofa? Is it a love seat? Is it chairs? And so forth. How big should the kitchen or dining room table be? Master bedroom, which room should be which? And then
what type of furniture.
we kind of come back and figure out, we can solidify how much the fee will be. Everybody wants to know, but sometimes you get to a house and the living room isn't just a living room, it's a living room with another seating area. And
Right.
so forth. So
Right. It's obviously, it comes down to size of room, because you need more furniture for bigger rooms, and how many rooms, and maybe speak to that. What are the typical rooms that you're furnishing?
But typically we do a living room, kitchen, master bedroom, and dining room, and all the bathrooms.
Okay.
And from there there's additional ones, but those are the ones that National Association of Realtors have determined are the most important ones. Living room being the most important at 93%, kitchen 84%,
Oh,
and master bedroom at 80%.
you've got stats. Watch out.
Yeah, watch out. We're gonna throw some numbers out here, but yeah. So those are the four that we start with, and some people want to do the basement if it's an odd layout, or if it's a small bedroom, then we want to show that we can get a bed in there and maybe a desk or something like that. So then we
Yeah.
would do a small bedroom, but otherwise, normally it's usually sold by the time you do a living room, kitchen, master, dining room, and a family room.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think staging, and this is my own personal experience, but I think staging is invaluable when it comes to making smaller spaces look bigger, right? And then also, it's funny because I can't tell you times I've heard somebody say, "Oh, well, I don't know how I could get my sectional in that room," and it's like, well, you don't buy a house based on your furniture, but
So,
But yeah, like, okay, so the room's a standard size. I'm sorry you have a California king. Like, maybe it's a queen who's going to get it done. So I think, yeah, with staging, it kind of changes that mindset where people realize it's about, what you have isn't necessarily the end all be all, right? And then Tom, you mentioned odd odd rooms. Like, people have a hard time in visualizing that transition from the going up the stairs, and there's like a little loft or bonus space before you get to the hallway and the bedrooms. You're like, is that where an office? Is that a sitting room? Is that a kid's? It's like, how do I use that space? Or maybe it's the really big bedroom, right? And you're like, what am I doing with this extra 8x8 space from the door and the edge of the bed? Like, what do we do here? So I think all that stuff is important.
And Jesse, the other thing, everybody wants open layout, open floor plan. But then they walk in there and they're like, oh, wow, how could I even use this? Where would I put my sofa?
Right.
Where's my dining room? So all this interest in open floor plans confuses the
Can be
buyer.
overwhelming. Right. That makes sense. Yeah. You need to create like your little zones in the open floor plan.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to each property we do a preview so that each property is different. And so that's taken into consideration. So you get a custom design for each property that we do.
Yeah. So back to when I was asking about the process. So somebody calls, you do that initial preview, right?
Yeah.
And then that's when you're coming up with the quote, right? Or the design.
Right. Yeah, we put the contract together. We get that out. We work on collecting all the materials for the stage. It's lamps and lampshades, bedding, pillows, centerpieces, all the decorative items. And we set the installation date. We get the down payment from the client. We do the installation. We do photos, which we provide on a Dropbox, and depending on the price point of the property, some of the homes in the up to maybe a couple 100,000 or 250, whatever, may use our photos, which are pretty good. But over that, and a lot of people have the professional photographer come
Right.
out. And
Well, I got to say, I was blown away when you guys were going out there. And it's like, not only you doing your service of staging, but you're looking at the property through the lens of a homeowner or an investor. And you're like pointing out things. 'Cause I mean, I think I'm just going to speak from an investor, right? You're going out there, you're looking at the property, you're telling your crew what to do. And I don't care if it's the initial rehab or you're just doing touch-up work before you're getting it back on the market. You're telling probably a contractor to address a handful of things, and then they tell you it's done, and you might either be not able to go back and look at it, right, and just taking them on their word, or maybe you missed something, but you guys go through and point out. Like, I remember there was photos where it was like this drawer was off kilter, or there was a staple in somewhere, or things like that. And it's like it's helpful to not only you're doing your job, but you're also looking out for the client's best interest too. So
yeah, those are easy things to fix, but they're big in the eyes of buyers.
right.
What else is missed?
well, another thing that came up, Jesse, we do our move outs shortly before the final walkthrough, which is very shortly before closing. And we moved out of a place a few years ago in Plainfield, and we got in there, and the kitchen, it smelled horrible. And we're like, a mouse or something must have died. We pulled out the refrigerator. We're looking around. We couldn't see anything. And we knew who had rehabbed the house, and we knew the owner. And we're like, somebody has to get out here and figure out what's happening in this house, because if they come in here for this final walkthrough, they're not going to want to close because it smells so bad.
Yeah. Or they're gonna want a credit, right? Something's wrong. I need a credit to fix whatever's wrong. And
Well,
that's
happening.
$10,000 credit for something that's an easy fix.
A bird had went in the hood band for over the stove and died in there. So they were able to get it out, get the smell out, and clean it up. And the buyer was never aware that anything like that had gone on. Or
the buyer does their final walkthrough. It's like, why is the realtor baking cookies on the final inspection? I don't understand.
yeah. Or water in the basement. There's different things
Right.
we come across, and we make sure that we communicate, because we want this deal to close. We are on the team of our client, and we are working for them. And
Yeah, we're not here to stage. We're here to sell. And we stage, you sell. And as soon as you sell, and you sell fast and you sell clean, then we just get referrals, and we get your next
Right. Yeah, you see it works, you kind of rinse and repeat. And I get it, not everybody's a real estate investor who's flipping and needs this on an ongoing basis, but just from the lens of the realtor, right? Like, it may be a new client each time, but they're coming back to you because they're seeing that they now can advertise that they're selling homes, you know, in the first week or the first day or whatever it might be, right? Like that helps them with their bragging right and endorsing their business too, right? It's if it's going to get them a close or over ask and sell it quicker, that lets them help, you know, stand out in their own community against their peers. So, you know, that helps not only their client but helps them too with their business.
And we like to say that we do what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it. I mean, we pick up our phone when it rings. We're there. We're there. It's not we're gone for days at a time or not returning phone calls or not being responsive. We respond.
Yeah, no, I actually appreciate your follow up. You kept me on pace, so
Well,
it's good.
one of the things that we do, Jesse, is we maintain actually a real estate broker's license. We're not actively selling houses as a broker, but we maintain it so that we can use our favorites. So we have all of our properties that are staged in our favorites, and so when property goes under contract, we're aware of it because we get notification of it. So we send out a letter letting the brokers know that we're aware of it and what the next steps in the process are. So throughout the process, we see things moving forward. We work with the attorneys to remind them that the house is staged so that there's no last minute problems with that. And we keep everybody informed what the next steps are
Yeah.
in the process so nobody forgets.
Well, that's invaluable that you actually understand what a real estate agent's going through and where the pain points and where the trip hazards can be, where I think maybe the average stager is just focusing on maybe design or you know, style, stuff like that. So that's a big one.
We try to combine operations with design.
So we've talked about, you know, when I think of your clients, right? We've talked about realtors, we've talked about real estate investors. Is there anybody else that I'm overlooking?
Well, we work with homeowners who have moved out. We stage vacant properties. We don't stage occupied homes.
Okay.
However, we can provide a service for occupied homes where we have someone go into the property and give the homeowner the checklist of get this painted, remove this.
Is that new? You had a new partnership or collaboration, or you acquired a company where now you're adding that piece to the business? So yeah, let's dig into that a little bit. What is that?
That's a new thing for us, and we're excited about a new partnership that we have. And this individual has been doing this for a very long time, and she does a decluttering service, so that you know, the real estate broker doesn't have to be the bad guy. That you can put a third party in there to let them know that, hey, you know, I actually love Billy Bass myself, but maybe the Billy Bass shouldn't be the first thing that happens when you walk through the door.
Is that the talking fish?
Yes, the talking fish, we love it.
We love it ourselves, but it's savory, but for special taste.
Right. Lake houses, you know, hot condos in the city, maybe.
Right.
That's good. So when you start quoting things, I mean, if people, they can use your services kind of a la carte, like they can say, I only want the decluttering or I only want the staging. Obviously, it's just
Sure.
okay. That's great. And then who else? So do you guys work with home builders, or is that? I mean, I don't know if that's a
We
thing.
do have builder
They have their
model
own companies.
We do have builders that work with us for the model homes as well.
Okay, that's great.
And
Okay.
realtors, a big part, and then real estate investors.
Okay.
And homeowners who have moved out or moving out. And then now with the decluttering partnership that we have, we do that for.
And also she'll work with design selections, finishes, fixtures, colors, and that type of thing for either building or remodeling.
Okay. Now, I obviously, since I know you and I personally used you, I haven't really looked around. I mean, is staging a crowded space, or is there only a few games in town, or how do you maybe stack up with your peers? What is that? Maybe speak to that a little bit.
We're not the biggest player in town. Some of the other staging companies don't like working with investors. We love investors.
So I would say our prices are, being investors, we understand kind of the need to, number one, know what the pricing is going to be, so we can pretty much, after between 500 and 1,000 houses, we kind of can tell what a price is going to be, even ahead of time. And so we can provide that, but our pricing is generally below market. And that's just, inbred with us being flippers and investors, knowing that, it's limited margins right now, especially on those kind of things. So we come in a little below market. We don't think more highly of ourselves than we are. It's what we do. It's something that we've become very good at, but it's not all about us and being realtors and being designers and being stagers. It's about getting the job done and getting it sold.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my experience maybe is a little skewed, but I found the pricing to be very reasonable. And then once I think that, I'm gonna get more from a higher offer because of it, it's like, okay, well, that cost is covered there, because I'm getting more money with my offer. And the fact that it would be under contract sooner means I'm not paying an extra mortgage. I mean, I think most people have a mortgage. I mean, I know there are some folks who buy these cash, and they're investors, but most people have a mortgage, and whether they're carrying that property or if they're doing a simultaneous close where they need to sell it quickly to go close on their other property, I mean, time is paramount. So yeah, I think, I mean, everybody wants to get a good price. Nobody wants to overpay for anything, but yeah, I found it to be very reasonable. So,
Yeah, time is
listen,
money.
I love talking to you guys. I could talk to you for like another hour, but I know the viewers probably want to get in and get out and get good content, which I think you've shared a lot of wonderful things about your business and who you guys are as people and what have you. So any takeaways that you want to highlight or make sure people know? I'm gonna obviously, when I send this out, I'm gonna give a link to your website. I'm gonna share your contact info. So no need to get into any of that specific. I'll definitely push it out. But anything that I missed or you want to highlight for you guys?
You should give us a holler. We'd love to know specifically, about what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. But it's not one size fits all. We love to get to know you as individuals, and we'll talk about something. If you bring something to us and we say, you really don't need to stage that property, we'll tell you, maybe you don't want to stage that property. If you're staging it to rent, and you just have a single unit, we're going to say you're not going to get the ROI on that. We'll tell you when to do it and when not to do it. We're not just going to try to pile on.
That's good to know. Anything for you, Diane?
No, we appreciate the fact that you had us on today, and
People
appreciate working with you.
want to know good people, and I think they want to know good businesses that run like true professionals. And you guys are professionals. You've got the agent and their client's best interest in heart, and you are on top of it and you're organized, which is great to have professionals surround your book of business. So well, great. I appreciate your time. I'm going to give you guys my Michael Jackson or Michael J. Fox hand wave. I'm Back to the Future. You guys have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much.
All right. Take care.